Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. It's supposedly going to rain for like a week straight here, so prepare for the gloominess of it all. Do we really know any other way on this channel? So today we're going to be talking about animals, but because it's my channel, it's going to be animals but make it depressing. I have a certain level of nervousness when it comes to talking about animals on this channel because though I love animal content, I have noticed the more intense and personally to me concerning sides of animal social media. Now, these are all particular episodes, let's say. These are all particular little stories I've seen, so I'm not saying the entire animal community is terrible, the same way that there are terrible people in every fucking community, but when it comes to animals, I've just seen people get extremely riled up really quickly over things they're maybe not informed about, so well, here I am. To be honest, this to me isn't really controversial, so I don't even know why I'm freaking out in advance. Basically, this video was posted on Twitter. And I was not surprised because I think we've all been on social media long enough to just really expect the worst of humanity. I was kind of interested in the type of interaction this was getting. So this is the video that was posted. I have some opinions. Now, I looked at the comments and we're going to talk about those in a second too because they are relevant because I did want to see how all of this was being received, how people were processing the information that they were seeing in this video. There were the obvious cutthroat people and people who were too, in my opinion, mild. As someone who has had dogs basically my entire life, whether it was with my family members or my own, I've a good level of experience, mainly because I have a family member and a close family friend who are actually trained in training dogs and have certificates, diplomas, whatever the fuck. So I do have a little bit of an understanding. I'm not a professional, I'm just saying I've learned things from these people. If I had a dog that attacked my child and scarred my child like that, any type of attack, even if the child isn't bleeding or hurt, is still an attack, and that's the problem. The consequences are obviously horrible. You don't want your kid to bleed, you don't want your kid to be in any kind of pain, but I really do think that the symptom is still the symptom, and that's what we should focus on, the fact that the dog attacked the kid. Now, one thing I will say about children, which is why I think they should always be supervised around animals, is that children are heavy-handed. I think we've all experienced seeing a kid pet a dog and they'll just like let their hand fall onto the animal, and I've seen animals just like almost jump out of fear because of that. So I'm not blaming the kid, I'm just saying kids should be monitored with animals because I think animals have certain responses because of kids' mannerisms, whether it's moving around really quickly, being heavy-handed, being loud, or potentially even being openly annoying to the animal, which they obviously don't know that they're being annoying, but if they're pulling on its ears or whatever, these are all things I've seen in the past. So I have to wonder about how present the parents were with this child, or if this child was allowed to simply be around the dog, which can be an issue, obviously. The other thing is also, I don't know what this dog's character, personality is like in terms of whether it's an aggressive dog, whether it's not, whatever, but at the end of the day, it's kind of crazy to me to just think you're gonna forgive a dog like they're a human and they know that they did something wrong and they're gonna subsequently learn from that wrong thing. So like, if the kid was being annoying to the dog in some way, it's not like you had a conversation with the dog and the dog was like, good point, I won't do that again. Like, you might yell at the dog, but still, I don't think they're gonna internalize, oh yeah, when the kid is heavy-handed with me, I need to realize that they're a kid and therefore, come on. That being said, in the comments, people were very black and white. So there were people who were saying that the dog should be straight up put down, which to me seems extreme in the sense of, before getting to that to me is the final end point. We have no other options. But considering that you could put the dog up for adoption, you could sell the dog, you could put the dog in training classes, like behavioral training classes, obedience training. You could have your dog, go stay with family, someone you know, friends. There are all these other things that come up before. Now, granted, if this dog is a danger to humans, just personality is aggressive to a point where it can't be repaired, I guess that's a conversation you can have. I'm not equipped to have that conversation. I don't have enough information. But it was kind of crazy to me that we had these two poles of put the dog down, forgive the dog, and low-key try and pretend nothing happened and like this is never going to happen again. And I think both of those I can understand to an extent, because as soon as someone you love is hurt by an animal or a person, it's, for me, she's a little bit cutthroat. That being said, in this particular case, like with people, you can just step back from said person who's a bad influence on you in the same way you can step back from being a dog owner and do one of the things I listed. That being said, that also does come with a commitment if you want to do behavioral obedience training with your dog. That's not an overnight thing either. I personally think it's dumb to just do nothing and keep the dog and forgive the dog. I just feel like at that point, it's just gonna happen again. I don't know. I just feel like I would be very uncomfortable with that. I feel like that would put me on edge because I'd always be wondering, oh, when's something gonna happen that the dog's gonna act up and maybe like seriously injure the child. I don't want to be negative or end of the world, but there are some things that will cause permanent damage. Like anything happening to the eyes could cause permanent damage. Depending on how a dog reacts, if you get fucking mauled, that could cause permanent damage. Are you really willing to roll that dice in order to avoid having to really do anything in terms of, like I said, training, giving the dog to someone, shelters, adoption, whatever? You guys can let me know. I just feel like these stories come up once every so often on social media, and it's just kind of crazy how a lot of the times it comes across as people prioritizing sounding like good people. And listen, I don't know what their goal was with forgiving the dog. It does have a little bit of a raised eyebrow from me of like, are we trying to signal something? Is this a form of virtue signaling? Because to me, it doesn't sound practical realistically, and it seems like an unnecessary risk to take to keep the dog without changing anything. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. I just hope they separate the dog and the kid to whatever extent, at least for a while, until maybe the kid also can understand what's going on. But again, like I said, do we need to make life harder like that? Does that risk have to really be there? In my opinion, no, but here we are. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.